All right, welcome back. We are at part 3 of the second shelf of my 300 subscriber video giving you a tour of my shelf. Essentially an overglorified, way too long, bloviated, shelfy video. But I'm going to get through this. After this one, we've got 2 more to go. This one should go a lot quicker simply because we don't have as many zines to get through. But we're still going to be going through pretty much a shuffle of a variety of different books, eclectic to mundane, old school, new school, and so on and so forth. So let's begin, shall we? So we're going to go ahead and start here at the end. This one right here, what we have here is I'll kind of put it there in the video, is Rackham Vale. This one is a recent one. This is by Brian Saliba and Craig Schaefer. This is an RPG based upon the artwork and the world derived from the artwork of Arthur Rackham. It is a beautiful book. The artwork is superb. I am a giant fan of RPG artwork. RPGs to me are 50% art, 50% content, and and so if the artwork if the artwork isn't good in a book, then you've lost 50% of my interest. But the artwork in here is superb. I did a short video of this when it arrived, and I think, and a lot of people are in agreement in this, is one of the things about the artwork is this particular book was designed around someone's specific artwork. Unfortunately, the artwork in this version is black and white, so you lose a lot of the personality of the art that Arthur Rackham did, and felt it just wasn't a fair representation of it. But they have since rectified that. They have kickstarted a full color version, which fully funded, and I didn't back, but I will definitely look forward to getting the color version sometime in the near future. Do kind of wish they would have given you a discount for those who bought already, but that's just a personal opinion. Let's see here. Next to that, we have Neverland. Neverland was a setting book for 5th edition. It could be kind of considered somewhat system agnostic. I mean, it's focused on 5e, but it's a setting toolbox by Andrew Kolb from Andrew McMeel's Publishing, their RPG line. I think this is one of the first ones that they've done, aside from Zweihander. I could be wrong on that, but it's a beautiful book. It is a wonderful setting. I do like their take on Neverland and everything therein. The only thing I wish they did was provide, a little bit more than just a toolbox. It is something for you to design your Neverland, and some people enjoy that. But I bought it thinking it was like a complete product, so to speak. A setting that was essentially complete, that didn't require me to do any of the heavy lifting, and also include some sort of at least an introductory adventure to give me the feel, aside from what they're portraying within here, of the world they're in. And I mean, it's there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't what I was expecting, and was kind of hoping for it to be a bit more. But it is still definitely worth checking out, definitely worth getting if you're looking to supplement your table, your RPG, your RPG game. Sorry, it's a bit late at night. Your RPG game, and if you're comfortable with the 5e rule set and that's all you're playing with, if you're looking for a change from the WotC adventures, I would definitely recommend that. Here we've got the Maelstrom Companion along with the Maelstrom book by Alexander Scott. This is a game set in I don't know, what is the general period they're in. It's a medieval setting game, somewhat the turbulent world of Europe in the 16th century. There you go. I would have guessed that eventually, but there's a little bit of glare on there. But for the most part, it is a wonderful. This is a wonderful book. I absolutely love these kind of books. It's an old school book, an old school game. One of those, a little bit of mythology about it, and a lot of things at the time was written by a teenager. And it is wildly supported and loved by so many people. There's a lot of things to pull from there. that you can put in any other, 16th century European style game. Somewhat, well, when I say somewhat grounded in reality, I mean, it's somewhat more realistic than your typical superhero fantasy that exists today. And it's definitely worth checking out. It is something that I don't think you'd be disappointed in. This is a recent print, reprint, I should say. You can get the older book along with the some of the supplements that existed at the time, but for a lot less money than collector's prices, you can get this version. I'll just set it down here. Screw it. All right, so I would say these don't need any real introduction. We've got Night's Black Agents, the Dracula Dossier Director's Handbook, along with the Dracula Unredacted book. This all pulls into the Night's Black Agents RPG. For those who aren't familiar with it, the elevator pitch is, mix vampire conspiracy with the Bourne Identity, and there you go. I mean, it's more than that, of course. It is it's a wonderful game. The rules can be a bit swingy. I know it's one of those where, it's gumshoe, but a lot of the things that you utilize to create your vampire conspiracy can take a double take. At least for me, it's people with dyslexia sometimes, they absorb information differently. And some books just go right in the eyes and right up to the brain, and others go right in the eyes and right out the other end. So it takes a couple passes to get through it. My only real complaint is the Dracula Unredacted. Jesus Christ, the font is way too small in this. I mean, let's be realistic. For somebody who, I understand this is supposed to be like an in-game tool. Like this is supposed to be the actual copy of it with the redacted notes in it. So it's, it's a player side thing. But I mean, come on, this is one of those where if you get it, reprint it on 8.5 by 11, I guess, or try to see if you can, get someone with better eyesight to read these things. But it's a neat concept. I don't think it was executed that well. So. Tomb of the Black Sand. This is an adventure for generally OSR, but I like so many things, I believe it's system agnostic. By Jacob Hurst and Donnie Garcia. Jacob Hurst from Swordfish Islands, of the Dark of Hot Springs Islands fame. It is a fantastic little adventure. It is up currently for an ENnie for the VTT that they produce for it. Get it. There's no better virtual tabletop adventure out there for what you get for it. The maps are beautiful. The story's fantastic. The tokens, superb. If you really want to get into an immersive game where it's just every single aspect of it is just centrally focused on theme, that's one to get. There's no, swingy maps that look like they were, downloaded at low resolution, and a lot of odd and weird tokens that were kind of, just kind of grabbed from Google Photos last minute and, cut into little circles. Okay. So a little odd cut there. I'm out in the garage, so there will be family intrusions. But after Tomb of the Black Sand, we have Flash Gordon, Kingdoms of Mongo, and Flash Gordon, the role-playing game. These are designed for Savage Worlds. The reason why I have these two books and not the box set was a friend of mine, Matt Kraft. He's been on the YouTube channel. He's the one who had the very expensive and very beautiful Dune role-playing game, Collector's Edition. And he ordered this box set, and they were supposed to come with 2 hardbacks, and they did not. They came with these. He wrote them a little email, of which they provided 2 hardbacks, and he gave me these 2. It is probably one of the best settings available for Savage Worlds. The pulp fiction, the pulp stylings of Savage Worlds, obviously leans right into Deadlands and other things. There's a lot of different settings for Savage Worlds over the years, but Flash Gordon is just, you know, a match made in heaven for the Savage Worlds rule set, and you know what it's designed for and what makes it shine. So next to that, we have the Ultimate RPG Gameplay Guide. This is one of those that I think a lot of people get on Amazon. Some may or may not read it, and it's one of those kind of like, oh hey, I got this, and on the shelf it goes. So I can't say too much about it. I haven't read it. I haven't read it. Jesus. All right, next to that, we have Hypertellurians. This is the original first edition, I believe. Let's see. No, this is the, what does that say? Oh, boy. This is the, what edition? Screw it. But it is one of the two printings I have of the book. Hypertellurians came out with the first edition printing. They made some changes to it and came out with another edition pretty much right after I got this. And thankfully, they provided a deep discount for those who had the previous edition. So the farther down on the shelf, you will see the other edition, be it the first or the follow-up edition. So thank you for that. A lot of people are... or a lot of publishers kind of follow that, that in that vein. Some do, some don't, and I understand why. But when a little bit of a goodness like that shines, it's definitely remembered. So, yes, it's busy here. Another little cut there. So we're busy in the OrcusDorkus household. Maybe I should put a red light out on the door that leads into the garage until I finish these things. Carrying on. So a lot of people are familiar with this multiverse role-playing game. This is the playtest rule set from Marvel's most recent iteration for a role-playing game. Did a video about this, just kind of a general walkthrough of it. You can watch that if you like. My general take of it, it's not as bad as everyone kind of claims it was. I haven't gotten into the table yet, but it definitely provides everything that it says it does. It's worth $10. I've spent $15-$20 on role-playing games that provide far less. Is a far worse experience. And I mean, what can be said? It's a playtest. And is it going to be like this when they're done with the finished product? I don't know. Maybe not. But I don't know. A lot of the fandoms just need to chill the F out when it comes to certain things, and especially comic book fandom. So speaking of comic books, next to us, we have the Troubleshooter's Core Rulebook and the U-Boat Mystery. Both of these, I believe, are up for in any surprising, considering it's been out for some time. So I'm not sure how they finagled that, but good on them. If you like the cartoon stylings of Tintin and other comic books of that era, and also that general, pulpy aspect of those comic books. This was a joy to play. I played it 2 years ago on a stream, James Corp, CORP, and had a blast. So much that I backed it. And even though it was a little late in its arrival, I was very happy when it got here. Beautiful books. All right, so next to that, Beyond the Wall and Other Adventures. This is one that, let's see here. Was this a printing? Or was this a gift? Fairy Tale Adventures. Fairy Tale. When I see the name, the first thing I think of is Neil Gaiman's Stardust. I think that is a decent summary to kind of give you an idea what to expect, and also to keep this video rolling along. So Beyond the Wall and Other Adventures. I haven't played it. I paged through it. Seems like a lot of fun. A lot of people rave about it. And if you're familiar with Neil Gaiman's Stardust and you enjoy it, pick it up. Wurm. This was a Chaosium sale. This was refuses to come out. Neolithic role-playing. Ice Age. There you go. I'm guilty. This is one of those where I'm guilty of literally getting it, taking the plastic wrap off, and putting it on the shelf. I don't think I even paged through this darn thing, so I think this is one of those that I get that glare from every time that I walk past it. Why don't you give me the attention that I deserve? Someday, Wurm. Someday. All right. Conan, 2D20, Modifius, Adventures in an Age Undreamed of. This is the ultimate Conan role-playing game. What more can I say? I only own these two. It is ridiculously supported by Modifius. I mean, the books would take up this entire shelf that they've come out with. So many options, so many wonderful things that they've done. I'm glad that they're finally producing some adventures. And I think a little mini campaign by Jason Durall just dropped recently. Yeah. What best can be said about Conan is the rules themselves. Woof. It took a while. First pass through, didn't like it, had no idea what to make of it. Felt like I was, driving a semi with no steering wheel. Did a second pass through as a player, not running it. Started to gel a little bit. And then I got the free RPG Day booklet and read through that, and it finally stuck. And 2D20 games are one of those where, kind of once it gets into your head, all the other games make sense. But this is probably, and they become a little bit more easier to digest as you go down their line, with this one being the most difficult. So if you want to start with calculus first before you get to basic math, go ahead and read this. If you want to, if you want to start off on the easy course for 2D20, pick up one of their other games and come back to this, and it may make this a little bit easier. But that aside, once it gels, it is an absolute blast to play. All right, let's see if I can move this over a little bit before my tool chest falls on me. Apologies. All right, so sliding over. There we go. Let's see here. That should be good enough. We'll go over a little bit more. Okay, there we are. Okay, so up next, what do we have? We have, oh, that's that. We have Castle Xyntillan, adventure modules for level 1 through 6, a OSR, little, no OSR adventure module. Let's see, essentially by Gabor Lux. That's a name that, some people are going to take issue with, but this was purchased quite a long time ago. And I haven't run it, and I haven't gone through it. I don't know exactly how or why I bought it. It came off a recommendation from someone, picked it up, I think from during an Exalted Funeral sale, and it's sat on the shelf ever since. So next to this, Spirit of 77. Yes, these are games that are enjoyed by many. This is by Monkey Fun Games. Monkey Fun Games produces a lot of excellent games, including these two. If you're looking for, a funky, Roadhouse, not Roadhouse style, but, just kind of like grasp the era of the 70s and just have a funky, good time. Pick these up. I believe they're powered by the Apocalypse based. All right, next to that, we have my now never used Savage Worlds Deluxe Edition. I should probably get rid of this. I don't think I will ever use it again now that Suede's out. Monsters and No Thank You Evil. These are fun little introductory games for small children, as small as 4 or 5. There's different levels of play within the game depending on the age of your child, and they are a lot of fun. I played these several times with my daughter and her friends. A little bit too young for my son when I got him, but my daughter wanted to play some games, and I didn't really want to go through the hassle of watering down D&D, and very grateful for games such as these. It makes it a lot easier on parents who have children that are interested in role-playing games like their older siblings, but you just don't want to, the chiseling away the questionable or some things within D&D or even the rule set that they're just not going to grab. You can roll a d20 and make pretend, but structure, giving your kids structure, and in any other games are an important aspect of play with your children, as far as I'm concerned. Next to that, I have my my PDF print of Heart, The City Beneath. Picked up the PDF quite a long time ago. I don't know if it was one of the bag of holdings or I got it right from the site. The book itself is wonderful. It's extremely expensive. $70 I think or so is the retail at the time. I know you can get it for less now. But I did take the PDF and had it printed at my local printer. All right, I'll just slide that over a little bit more. Okay, role-playing history here. Palladium RPG, Book 2, the old ones. Squeezed in between there is Ars Magica. I believe this is 2nd edition. Beyond the Supernatural, more Palladium. And then we have Palladium Fantasy Role-Playing 2nd edition. And then we've got, in worse shape, Palladium Role-Playing Game 1st edition. Classic black and red cover. I mean, it's Palladium. I'm not going to go through the history of Palladium. And I believe if I say Palladium one more time, Kevin Simbita is going to probably try to open up a lawsuit against me. So we will move on from there. If you're interested in the history of Palladium games, go ahead and look it up. All right, what do we have squeezed in here? Oh, excellent. We have TSR's entry into a couple adventures. Let's see here. We have specifically 2001 A Space Odyssey and 2010 A Space Odyssey. They use the Star Frontiers rules. My understanding is the adventures are, I think, a bit railroady. I mean, you're essentially playing the movies. It's one of those where you don't buy it for the adventure, you buy it for some of the information they're in and the maps of the ships from the movies. So Fiasco came recommended by a lot of people. Tried to play in one time. I didn't really enjoy it. Maybe it wasn't run properly. I don't know. It probably would have been helpful if I read the book. But yeah, that's on my to-read list. Slayers. I believe Slayers was an Any winner last year. I can't remember for what. And I picked up a copy from Exalted Funeral. You play as supernatural. It's either supernatural or vampire hunters. It's a small little book, rules light, and I think they've come out with more stuff since then. All right, sliding over. All right, so we're gonna get into maybe a little touchy section for some people here. We've got some books from the Lamentations of the Flame Princess line. We've got Broodmother Sky Fortress, Vornheim. We've got Adventure Anthology. We've got Adventure Anthology Fire. This is the Adventure Anthology Blood. We've got Deathfrost Doom with the felt cover. We've got a little map that comes with it. We've got Veins of the Earth. We've got the core rulebook for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, Scenic Dunsmith. And this is a printing of the Lamentations of the Flame Princess, A Red and Pleasant Land PDF. This is one that, I forget the story behind it. Well, someday I'll recall what it was, but for now, there it is. And then next to that, squeezed in there is the chocolate. Yeah, I mean, if you're within any of the RPG circles, as far as the social aspect of it, fully aware of the the heavy-handedness and the things that have revolved around Lamentations of the Flame Princess over the years, regarding its owner and some of the authors, and some of the things that have occurred surrounding it. Not going to get into it here. These are books on my shelves. I have never played Lamentations of the Flame Princess. I have not really done much with these games. I've run Deathfrost Doom. I did have fun with it. But I didn't use Lamentations of the Flame Princess rules, and I have read through Veins of the Earth, which I think is an excellent supplement for any Underdark game that's focused on going into the underworlds. And then what's another one? Oh, Broodmother Sky Fortress. Wow, you want to talk about Gonzo games? That one seems to be well beyond Gonzo and out in the stratosphere of craziness. So, but yeah, we won't linger long on them, but they are there. And then kind of sliding over to the right here, Okay, so next to that, we have How to Write Adventure Modules That Don't Suck by Goodman Games. This is a wonderful supplemental tool to have for people who are out there actually writing their adventure modules, whether it's to publish or to utilize with your players. For those who are a lot more organized than some others are, I am just moving my light over here a little bit. There we go. There we are. And then next to that, we have the Genesys core rulebook. I like to say that I've used this, but this is one of those that I got after purchasing Star Wars. Interesting rule system. I do think it is another one of those that takes a few passes to finally get, whether it's the Genesys system itself or the Star Wars Edge of the Empire or other fantasy fight games, Star Wars games utilizing the special dice. But once the dice is in you, especially for the Star Wars games, it does, in my opinion, make for one of the most cinematically pleasing Star Wars adventures that I've ever been in. I mean, we ran a year-long campaign. I was a player, and just ultimately, those dice just do wonders and magic for the game and for people in Star Wars. Not sure how well it plays with its other settings or by itself, but for Star Wars, it is fantastic. Tales from the Loop box set. No offense, Free League, but this is crap. And a lot of people will agree with me. This giant box could probably be about maybe a quarter the size for what you get in there. It's not a starter set. It's essentially a giant box that allows you to get extra dice to play with Tales from the Loop core set. Sorry, they all can't be winners, but it was a good try on this. Don't waste your money on it. Okay, well, there's another cut, not because I was interrupted this time, but because the light went out. So, yeah, I was bullying Tales from the Loop just a second ago, but yeah, I mean, like I was closing out with before the lights went out. Yeah, they all can't be winners, but go out and get the core rulebook. Don't waste your money on this. If you need more dice, buy more dice. So, Ryuutama. Ryuutama is a travel simulator. Come on, get out. These books are tight. Natural fantasy role-playing game. I know a lot of people love this. I've read through this. It is a wonderful book. It is a Japanese role-playing game of seasons, wonders, and journeys. So it's kind of like I'm going to call it a walking simulator, like in regards to a video game. But the goal of this is not necessarily your destination; it's the ride. What happens when you go from point A to point B, and all the adventures and Ghibli little Japanese seasons, wonders, and journeys that you experience therein. So if you enjoy that aesthetic, like I do and many other people do, pick it up. And it's also a good one to play with kids. Okay, squeezing you in there. What is this? Oh, God. How did this get in here? Okay, Return of the Zine. We have zines kind of sneaking in here. The Waking of Willowby Hall from Ben Milton. I'm sure all of you know who he is, Questing Beast. And this was his latest entry. I don't think I did a page through of this. If you want to see a good review of this, go to Bud's RPG Review site on YouTube. You will see a great breakdown of this. And it's a great little adventure. I would definitely recommend it, as I believe did Bud. Moving out. Let's see here. Okay. So, Lost in the Fantasy World. This is Diogo Nogueira's, RPG to play with your kids. It's kind of a derivative of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon of the 80s. If I'm not mistaken, you start as kids in the real world and you get sucked into this fantasy world, and you play through the adventures that occur through there. And as with all things that Diogo makes, they're fantastic. And I believe that's a little supplement for it. Yes, creativity book. Something to play with your kids. There's not a lot of those out there, but Lost in the Fantasy World. Likewise, No Thank You Evil. If you're looking for an RPG to play with smaller children, definitely pick it up. As mentioned earlier, Hypertellurians. This might have been this is the original printing. The first printing is because There's this weird little line down the center. I don't know if that's part of the artwork or if that was just, a bad print job. But yeah, this is the first one. Space fantasy adventure role playing in the future of old. Space and sandals, essentially is what it is. Buck Rogers. And next to that, kind of hidden here, we have a few entries from the Dungeons & Dragons Gazetteer for a basic D&D. These are reprints from Drive-Thru RPG. Fantastic prints. Well worth the money. I think they're going for anywhere from like $8 to $12 or less. Between $8 to $12. Maybe occasionally you might see something under $8, depending on the sale. The print jobs are excellent. Of course, the maps are quartered, but you can always go get the maps reprinted at Staples or somewhere for relatively cheap if you want the full maps. But it's definitely worth your money for all of these wonderful gazetteers, as opposed to going out and spending ridiculous amounts of money in collector prices for these to essentially just get the maps. So if you're interested in the historical settings of D&D, and we're talking basic D&D, but of course, like with all things, you could pick and choose from what you want, what is within these books. So can't talk, it's late. And use them in any OSR style game. It's definitely something to pick up and go through. So Grand Duchy of Karamikos, the Principalities of Galantry, and Galantry. Here we are. That one's a little bit thicker. And then next to that are the Emirates of Yalarium. Yep. And hopefully I'll be getting more of those in the future. Next to this, we have my D&D BECMI all-in-one print that I did with all the PDFs that I purchased. This was a personal print. There you go. So it's got Basic, Expert, Companion, Master, and Immortals all in one. This is one that I printed myself. It took me quite a bit of time to get all the PDFs to fit. And then when I printed it, the cover on there wasn't what I wanted to be. So that was a freebie for Matt. So I gave that to Matt Kraft, and hope he enjoys it. So it's essentially Basic, Expert, Companion, Masters, and Immortals all inside of it. But I believe it was the Rules Cyclopedia cover or something else that I put on there by mistake. So no, not the Rules Cyclopedia cover, something else. But anyways, the wrong cover, and I was meticulous about that and wanted to get it correct. So, but all the information inside is solid. All right, so here we are. Eclipse Phase. This is an interesting story. So yeah, this is a print of the PDF. Someone was going to run this at one point in time, and he had printed out, for whatever reason, a couple prints of this. Eclipse Phase 2nd edition. This is in, I believe, I think the book is about $60 or so. The PDFs aren't too cheap either. They're over $20. But he printed these out, was going to run the game. Ended up not running it, getting married shortly after, and then just kind of disappeared from the face of the planet, and tried to give this back to him. It just kept on falling through, so here it is on my shelf. Someone's printing of Eclipse Phase 2nd edition I now own. Is it a legit copy? I couldn't tell you, but he got it printed out at through my printer, and a couple copies, so there might be a couple people out there with this. But hoping that he actually paid for it. Warlock Compilations and Warlock by Greg Saunders. I freaking love Warlock. It is a wonderful way to get that, really get into a game of that old school Warhammer fantasy aesthetic. But you're not really a big fan of the big crunchy rules that come with that, and yet you still want to role play within that world, pick up Warlock. It is well worth your money. I grabbed a lot of the PDFs after getting this book, compiled them into a self-print book. Every single one of them are well worth it. And as stated with a lot of the other games, Warlock is widely supported. There have probably been maybe a dozen more books that have come out since I got these two. And hopefully I don't think they'll be at Gen Con, but if they are, I'll be grabbing some copies of it. But going to be, once I get back from Gen Con, and kind of settle back in, would definitely love to get, some more print copies of, the other books that I'm missing. So, and there you go. This one's going to be a little choppy with the constant interruption. So hopefully it's edited together the best that I could. And there you are. So thank you once again for taking your time. I have no idea how long this video is since I've had to stop and start again. So we'll see what it comes to in the at the editing table. But hopefully it's a lot shorter than the top shelf. And we'll see you next time when we drop down another level, another tier to the third shelf, as we are 2 shelves away from wrapping this ridiculous shelfie tour. For some reason, I decided to do instead of just a simple dice giveaway. To thank those of you who have subscribed to this silly little RPG channel that I do just for shits and giggles. And until next time, have a wonderful day.